Hello, hello.
Yes, there we are. And hello, hello. Thank you all for joining our AHA Check Change Control VP virtual training. We're really excited to have everyone here. Just a few quick uh, housekeeping items. I've said it a couple times, just going to say it one more time. If everyone could keep their mics on mute, we are recording this for those that can't join us. Of course, if you have questions, please feel free to chime in. But it would be easier if you kind of stack your questions over in the chat, and we'll check the chat to make sure that we're covering all the questions. I'm going to start with some quick introductions, and then we have a brief agenda, and we'll just get going so that we can make sure that you guys have all of the information that you need to run a successful campaign. So I've just been talking all this time and you have no idea who I am. So my name is Kelly Harrington. I'm a senior digital asset manager on the digital marketing and content creation team for the American Heart Association. I've been with the American Heart Association for, it will be 3 years in August. Um, Also on our call, I'm just going to kind of kick it over to Ryan Lally, and let Ryan introduce himself.
Definitely. Well, thank you, Kelly, for doing the training. And I'm Ryan Lally. I'm the Community Impact Director for the state of Nebraska for the American Heart Association. And, we've been working with the Nebraska Department of Health on this check change control program, and look forward to having a successful launch and learning more about how to utilize the program. So I know we brought a lot of people together today to learn this. And as Kelly had mentioned, if you have questions, please put them in the chat box and we can address those. But definitely look forward to helping out. And then as we move forward, if you do have questions at your facilities and within each of your locations with the health departments, please reach out to me and I will be your first point of contact for those questions following this call as well. So just look forward to working with all of you and have a very successful campaign.
Well, thanks, Ryan. And then also on our call, I won't make him introduce himself, but we have Sachin Kumar, and Sachin is the CTO of Tupelo Life. Tupelo Life is the vendor who created this tool with us, and Sachin was kind enough to join me and join us to make sure that we're answering all of your questions properly. So when we see any screen shares or anything like that, that's going to come from Sachin. I'm actually going to I'll go through the quick agenda, and then per topic, I'll discuss each topic in the beginning and then kind of throw it over to Sachin to walk through. So if you have any questions while he's walking through, like we said, if it's urgent, feel free to unmute yourself and chime in. But if it can wait a second and let it pile up in the chat, that would be helpful. Like I said, we are recording this, so you'll be able to go back and watch it 100 times. We will be able to share. And I'm going to go ahead and get started on our agenda. So we had a really good conversation with Ryan, and a few of the things. One of the first things they said that he said that was important to you guys was, how do we sign up a new user for the CCC tracker? You can check the American Heart Association's YouTube site, and you might hear a familiar voice, but there is a video for CCC tracker and how to sign up. We actually worked with one of our affiliates in North Carolina to get that created, because that was a question that a lot of people had. So if you have any questions about that, we'll share that in a separate email. And I think Ryan may have already shared it with you, but we'll share it separately for you guys just to see. But in the meantime, Sachin, can we walk through the sign up process for the CCC tracker?
Sure, Kelly. And thanks for the introduction, Kelly. And I also have my project manager, Genrex, online as well. So we'll be kind of switching screens from walking through with the participant sign up, along with volunteer as well as the company admin reporting. So Rex, can we start with the participant account creation? So I hope everyone can see the screen now.
We can't see it.
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing is to head over to ccctracker.com. And as Kelly mentioned, there's a quick tutorial as well, a YouTube video which actually explains the entire process. And as part of the first process is to make sure that you have a campaign code, which is provided to you by the affiliate admins. So head over to create an account. And we have some test accounts over here, test campaign codes for us to actually start going through with the entire process. Rex, if your internet connection is slow, I can take over. Okay. So this campaign code is a unique campaign code that's given to each participant. So this is also a way for the affiliate admins to track the number of patients who have signed up and enrolled into the program. So you can fill in the username along with the email address and passwords and other information that's necessary.
And Sachin, I'll just chime in here. We would love for everyone to fill out everything on here. And Jen, please feel free to keep going. You don't have to stop. I did just want to point out that anything that has a star beside it is required. Other content is not. But it would be helpful to get everyone to enter everything. That way with your tracking as well as the back end tracking that we're doing, that would be most helpful.
That's right. Thanks, Kelly. So go ahead and choose all the fields. And as you enter the zip code, it's 100. So you can see that the state and the city is automatically populated based on the zip code. All the participants are required to acknowledge the terms subscription agreement, terms of service, and privacy policy. You can also click on those links to actually see what those terms and conditions are. So go ahead and click register. So as you can see, we have successfully signed up for the check change control tracker, and this is the dashboard. So a few things to note over here is within the dashboard, you have the ability to quickly add your blood pressure reading. And on the right-hand side, you also have a chart to quickly show your last monthly blood pressure reports. So you can quickly see a trend of how your blood pressure readings are on a monthly basis on the right side. And again, there are multiple places where you can add your blood pressure reading. So Rex, go ahead and add a reading for today. And for those who are wondering, the same tracker is completely web responsive as well. It's a responsive web portal, so you can use the same dashboard or a CCC tracker on your mobile phone browsers as well. So it will just look like your like a mobile application. So once you've entered the reading, you can see that there's an entry made for today, and also along with the readings. And on the top left corner of the chart, you can also see categories. So if you want to categorize your blood pressure reading, let's say if you have like a lot of readings and you want to see categorize them based on specific, let's say hypertension stage 1 or elevated, you can click on that and then it would quickly show you the reading. So for example, the reading that we entered is not hypertension stage 1. So that's the reason it's not showing over here. You can quickly go and click normal and you should have that reading. And at the bottom part, we also have like a tabular format. So you have all of those readings shown in a table format, as well as the ability to edit or delete a reading at any point.
And Sachin and Jen, can you also show how you can export a PDF to take to your doctor?
Sure. So you can, all you have to do is, Rex, why don't you actually go and add a reading from this screen? So you see on the top right, you have a reading, add a reading. And let's try adding something in hypertension stage 1 or stage 2. So while Rex is actually working on that, another thing to note from a graph perspective is if you're adding multiple readings per day, the graph is actually taking an average. So you would still see, as you can see, it's a reading for, we have 2 entries made for today, and the graph represents each day. So that's, each reading represents the average of the total number of readings done on that specific day. But you can also go down and have a look at the table to actually see the detailed view. So now that we have 2 readings, Rex, go ahead and export this as a PDF. So you'll have a PDF generated, and if you open that, you can actually see the same data that we've seen over here in the portal, along with other information. So you can see blood pressure report for Genrex, the username generated on the specific day. And if you scroll to the top, Rex, so
Yeah,
the first part shows you the trend, and the second page actually starts giving you the detail.
and what's great about this is you can download this and print it. I know some of us, I know I don't have a printer in my house anymore because I don't really have to print much anymore the way I can scan an email. So this also, like Sachin was saying, this is fully responsive. So you can actually take this PDF and save it as either an image, or depending on what type of phone you have, you can screenshot it or download it to your files on your phone, or save it to your notes on your phone to take to your doctor as well.
Yeah, definitely. And at the same time, if Rex, if you could go and choose another filter now that we have a filter. So that's stage 2, right? So go ahead and export that PDF. I just wanted to quickly show this because at the end of every PDF, there's a list or a filter criteria that shows on what basis is this report generated. So go ahead and open that. Yeah, as you can see, um, the last page actually has the filters used. So in this case, we've clearly chosen hypertension stage 2. So for each report that's generated, we can actually scroll down to the last page and check on what filter criteria that this report was generated. So that's basically how to add a BP reading and how to generate a PDF report, along with how you can use the filters to actually categorize your readings. Rex, why don't you go ahead, go back to the portal?
And you know what? While Rex is going back to the portal, I will go ahead and answer one quick question that I saw come in from Melissa. So, Melissa, you did say that you are able to see the tool on your phone when you go to your browser, but you're not able to see the phone app. This tool actually does not have an app. I do know that you see a CCC tracker app in your store. That is actually another tool. So happy to talk about that at a different time. But this tool is to make it easy for users, and the one that you guys are using, it is just the website. So what we usually ask people to do is go to the website once and save it as a favorite so that you can always get back to it easily. And so, Sachin, was there anything else that you wanted to show about signing users up or how to sign a user up?
I think that was pretty much it from sign up process. Would you like me to go through like the other features of the portal? Like we have wait, uh, we have searching for volunteers, messages, alerts. So let's go to alerts on the top left.
Yeah. I think it's important when a user is signing someone up. I
Yeah.
think it's important for them to sign up to one, if they can uh, sign up for alerts. If they do have a volunteer, and we will talk about volunteers a little bit later. If they do have a volunteer, how to connect to their volunteer, and then also how to sign up for the to be able to text.
Sure. So one of the other important things is based on these readings that you have entered, on the top left, you would see like an icon, so the bell icon. So those are your alerts. So when you click on that, you can actually see like your blood pressure reading is categorized as hypertension stage 2. So click on that, Rex. So you can go to the alerts screen either by clicking on those messages or by directly going to the alerts screen on the left-hand segment. So if we actually go ahead and add a hypertension stage 2, hypertension stage 2, or let's go ahead and add a reading for crisis. Let's go ahead and add a reading for a crisis, hypertensive crisis. So add, let's say 181/90 or something. And the reason why I wanted to show this is, unlike the other categories, you would see alerts, but for this specific category, where your blood pressure reading is hypertensive crisis, you get a special message over here, like higher than 180/120, yes, a crisis, wait a few minutes, take a blood pressure again. If it's still high, contact the doctor immediately. So that's one of the pop-up messages that appears when your blood pressure category is hypertensive crisis. So click on OK. You can also see this message under the alerts section. So why don't you go to the alerts by the other method? Yeah. So I think that's pretty much about adding a blood pressure reading, generating PDF, and seeing the respective alerts for each reading. You can also go ahead and delete an alert at any point that you don't want to keep. So you can go and click on one of those cross marks on the right hand side, or you can also go ahead and delete everything. So just to keep the alerts clear. And with that, let's move on to the next functionality, which is we have physical activity. I think that was one of the questions that was raised as well.
You know what, Sachin, before we move on to, we've got a couple of questions in here, and I know that we'll address one when we talk about physical activity. We did have one more question about the alert. And
Sure.
so the question was, with the alert message, does it come back as feedback in a text message? Or do they have to select that on the website to see? Do you get a text message when you have an alert as well if you've signed up for text messages?
We don't know. The alerts, let's say if you're adding the alerts from the web portal, you don't actually get the alerts back into your, like a text back into your phone. So I will also have to check from the hypertensive crisis standpoint. You can actually text in your readings from using your mobile phone, but the alerts don't show up as a response back from the same number.
Got it. Okay, so alerts you'll only see on the website, but if you do enter your alert, and if you do enter a hypertensive, but if you text a
Crisis.
hypertensive, yeah, if I text in a crisis, when will I get a text message back saying I'm in that I'm in crisis, or will that show as an alert on the website only?
No, it will show up on the website.
Got
For the hypertensive crisis, I will have to check in because I do remember there was a feature that we tried putting in just for the hypertensive crisis, but I'll have to check
Perfect.
that in.
Perfect. Okay, and then I think the most important
But for
question,
the other readings, you do not get the alerts back as a text form.
got it. Okay. And so I think the other two things that would be great to talk about, physical activity and weight, entering them is essentially the same as entering a BP. And I know that one of the big things that the health department is pushing is eating right and moving more. So I think one of the big things that this team was interested in seeing is how to connect to devices and other applications for physical activity.
Sure. So from a physical activity standpoint, there's two ways to do this. One is manually adding a reading. So Rex, why don't you show that first? So one thing to note over here, as mentioned in the form, if you manually enter steps multiple times daily, the steps entered will be added together. So let's say, since this is like a manual entry, you've done like 3,000 steps by 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. And then by evening, you want to add like another 5,000 steps, you can add that. And those readings would basically appear over here. Okay, so scroll down. Okay, let's go ahead and add another. Add another reading and make sure that you choose a different time, sometime in the morning, and just add some steps to it. So you get a flash message on the top as well after adding each reading. And now you can see that you would see the graph, same like the blood pressure. And at the bottom, you see the number of steps. So the steps have been total. I mean, it's a sum of the readings that you have done. And if you want to actually go in and see the detailed view, click on the view details, and you'll be able to see the breakdown over there. So here you can always go ahead and edit those steps, or if you want to delete, you can always do that. So, and it would reflect it back onto your chart or graph as well. So let's go back to physical activity. I would also like to show how the graph is represented, because unlike the blood pressure where it's manual entry, for physical activity, we have the ability to connect directly with your Google Fit or Fitbit accounts as well. Okay. So in terms of the graph, as you can see that you have manual that's represented in blue, and then you have Fitbit and Google Fit as other options as well. So the way how we connect the Fitbit or Google Fit devices is basically based on the account. So it doesn't directly, connectivity to these accounts are not directly to the devices, it's directly to the cloud. So let's say that you have a Google Fit device, or you have a Fitbit device, you'd be using an application along with it, right? So the Fitbit application syncs data every now and then, and based on the data that is synced to the Fitbit application, the Fitbit mobile application sends that data to its cloud, the Fitbit cloud, or its backend. So the moment the data is available in the Fitbit cloud or the backend, we'll be able to extract that information back into our account. So all we have to do from our end is make sure that we authenticate or connect to a Fitbit device, and then Fitbit account, and the data will automatically flow into the system. So for the purpose of this demo, we can actually try a Google Fit account. So Rex, go ahead and click on connect to devices. So you can choose the Google account or your Gmail account that's linked to your Google Fit account. So this needs to be the same account that you need that you're using on your phone. So for example, if you signed up to your Google Fit application using the specific email, that's the same email that needs to be chosen. So once you sign up. And again, I can see that for some users, for the first time, it would ask you to it will also have another screen where you have to allow the permissions to basically connect between CCC tracker as well as Google Fit. Once you hit allow, you would be taken back to this screen. As you can see that we are connected. That's why you see the other option where you can disconnect from Google Fit at any point. Now, if you go back to the physical activity screen, you can see that the data from Google Fit is automatically pulled into the account. And that's represented by the Google Fit color coding that's shown in the top.
That's awesome. And Melissa actually had a really good point that I wanted to share. And Samia, just so you know, I do have your question, and that's the next thing we'll ask. But the Google Fit app is free, and you are correct, but you do need to keep your phone with you at all times because it does track it basically by your location, by your phone. So definitely let your users know that. Another thing with Fitbit, I actually use an Apple Watch, and so I was trying to figure out how I could use this. You can download the Fitbit app, have that connect to Apple Health, and then also keeping your phone with you. It will track your steps and upload that to Fitbit if you do not have a Google type phone or device. If you do have a Google Fit device, like a Google Watch, then obviously you don't have to keep your phone with you at all times. But those are just a few pointers, and we'll put those in Ryan, I'll put those in notes to share back with you for you to share back with the team, just as some tips for when you're signing people up. This is great, Sachin. I want to, in the interest of time, I want to kind of keep pushing forward a little bit. One of the things, oh, and then also just really quickly, if you track your weight in Fitbit or Google Fit, which I do not do because I do not want Fitbit nor Google Fit to know my weight, that will also show up in here. But you can also manually enter your weight the same way that you could your blood pressure and your physical activity. Samia had a great question, and she was saying sometimes when she's signing up new people, there are glitches. She's experienced trying to sign up clients and it freezes, and they have to try to go through it about 3 times. We have seen your communication about that. One thing that we do recommend, and Sachin, please tell me if there's other things to recommend here. One thing that we do recommend is going in and clearing your cache, clearing the history, at least for that day, but if not for the day, for the month. A lot of times that helps with that glitch or slowdown. Or as you can see, this is collecting a lot of data and it's trying to get everything lined up. So sometimes it's just a little slow. And that's just, or dependent, especially now that we're all working from home, I think all of our internets are a little bit different than they used to be. So sometimes it's just kind of being patient with the tool as well. But does that answer your question, Samia, or do you have more to add to that? Okay, great. And Sachin, did you have any more to add
And
if there are glitches during that?
yeah, and another thing to note is, let's say, I mean, I hope people are using their own devices to be signed up, or if it's like a community sign up where you have like one laptop where you sign up people from there, if that's how it is done, then I would highly encourage those systems to be, I mean, those signups to be done on a private window. So the way how you can do that is on your browser, like for example, in this Chrome, on the top right corner, you'll find like an incognito window. So you can choose like a new incognito window and open up the CCC tracker there. And make sure that once they have signed up, you log out of those accounts before continuing with the next one. So that should definitely help.
Yeah, exactly. And if this is an issue that is common, like we said, please don't hesitate to keep reporting those things. If not reporting directly to Ryan, well, actually reporting to Ryan is actually the quickest way to get that information to us. So let Ryan know, and we'll keep working on improving to make sure that we're not running into that issue.
Definitely.
Great. Okay. And Samia said that's what she's been told, and it seems like a great idea. So no problem. So I wanted to there are two things that are really important to this team that I wanted to make sure we address today. And that is, how do you sign someone up to be a volunteer? And is it also possible to be a sorry, my voice is just leaving. Is it possible to be a company admin like most of the people on this call are, and also be a volunteer?
Okay. So from a company admin, so do you want to start with the volunteer or the company?
Let's start with the volunteer.
Sure. So if you go back to ccctracker.com, we have a volunteers tab as an option on the top right corner. So go ahead and create an account from that using that page. So that's how you kind of sign up as a volunteer. So Rex, go ahead and fill in this information. Yeah, you can call it as a volunteer or a health coach. I saw one of the comments as well. So once you, while Rex actually completes the form, once you are a volunteer, there's two ways of connecting to a participant. The first way is a volunteer can actually go to search volunteers under their dashboard, under the the participant can log into their account and go to search volunteers and actually go ahead and search for this specific volunteer and connect to them directly. Or the volunteer, when they sign up, so go ahead and click on.
So I think it's important to remember that well, everyone has to sign up to move forward. So yes, volunteer is our terminology, but yes, it is health coach, correct? And I sometimes use it wrong too, but yes, this is 100% what the health coach, being a health coach.
Right. So as part of this volunteer account, you can see that at the top right corner, each volunteer has like a unique code, right? So that's the code that's actually, from a backend perspective, that's a code that kind of links a volunteer to a participant. So Rex, why don't you actually switch back to participant account that we were using? And go to search volunteers and providers. Go ahead and either search by name or using that unique code. So click on that. So here you can actually see the volunteer details. And then if you'd like to connect, you can go ahead and close this and click on the connect button. So again, you have like terms and conditions that you need to agree to. Are you sure you want to connect with this volunteer? Please note that when you've created your account, you agreed to the terms and conditions outlined in the subscription agreement. So go ahead and click OK.
And so, Sachin, while we're going back to now seeing that they're connected, I think we'll probably go back to the other screen and see that they're all now connected. We had one question: how can a volunteer easily text with or health coach text with the user, or is that an option, or is email the only way to connect with them?
No, we have actually a few options. Once we go into the volunteer portal, I'll explain. And a few things to note over here. So this, to some extent, kind of works like all social media platforms. So you've sent a request to your volunteer. So once you go back, so you can see that the status is pending under My Volunteers and Providers listing under the participant account. You can see that the status is pending. So Rex, if you switch back to the volunteers account or the health coach account, you can go ahead, just refresh the screen. Scroll down and just click on that tick mark or check mark. So you can see pending invitations list. So this is where your participant list appears. So go ahead and click on that. And then now if you actually go ahead and check, you will have one participant with the under the volunteer.
Got it. And I have some questions that we really should probably address while we have the time really quick. I'm hoping to take about the next 4 minutes to talk through volunteer and health coaching, and then move on to just a quick overview of reporting. We might have to do a part 2 on reporting or record some stuff for you guys. But so one of the things that Melissa said is she's finding more and more that clients are able to text. They can text they can text the client as a volunteer, but the client can't text back. So the volunteer can text, but they can't text back. And then another thing that just wanted that just needed clarification. The client has to, yes, the answer is yes. The answer does have to connect with the health coach or the volunteer for them to be able to see the client's data. That is correct. So just to go back to the part about texting. So is it only a one-way text option?
Yeah, this is kind of used more from like a notification system. So from as a volunteer or an admin, you'll be able to send messages in the form of email, text, as well as direct message. So Rex, can you go ahead and click on messages? So over here, you can see on the left-hand side, you have different categories. So let's say these are patients who fall under each of these categories. And you will also have it based on the hypertension categories as well. So you can quickly choose one of these readings. So for example, if you want to address all the participants under your account as a volunteer or health coach, where you want to send a message to all your elevated, all the participants who are under the elevated or a hypertension stage 1 category, you can select that and send a message directly on the right hand side. At the same time, while sending the message, choose one of those recs. You can also see that you have 3 options, which is email, text, and direct message. By default, the direct message is what is selected by default. So you can type in a message, and then when the participant logs in, just like how you see alerts, they see the messages under their portal as well. So as per the design, the system only sends text from the volunteer side. If the patient or the participant tries to text back, you wouldn't receive it. So it's a one-way communication.
But they can, if they do log into the tool, can they direct message back to their volunteer?
Yes, direct message, of course. From a participant standpoint, they can always go back to their portal and communicate with their volunteer or the health coach directly from the portal.
Okay, that's very helpful feedback. And we do hear you on the other feedback, so thank you for that, and we'll look for that. We'll talk through that more. So we are at 10:49. We have about 10 minutes left. I know another item that was very important to this team was reporting as company reporting. There are 2 things that I think are really important, and one, pulling reports. But another was also, and I'm not sure if we have to go back to the beginning for this, but that engagement score, making sure that people are able to see what type of engagement are happening within their departments, because this is one big group with lots of separate offices, and they want to make sure that everyone is participating and see how they can help help with everyone participating, and even the ability to give incentives for engagement.
Sure. So shall we switch to the company admin portal or the company admin reporting dashboard?
Let me read this question really quickly before we switch to that. So if we send a group message, will the patient or other patients see other patients' information, name, phone number, etc.? The answer to if they'd send a group message, I don't think everyone will be able to see everyone's information. It sends as a blind copy. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. And then the next question that we have is this available in other languages? And it is coming in Spanish. So if you will give us, yes, Spanish is coming sooner than later. So if you will give us a month, it's really me. So if you'll give us about a month or so, we'll have this available for you in Spanish as well. So yes, I think we should go ahead and change to the company admin portal.
Sure.
And guys, these questions are great. Thank you. Thank you for asking and sharing and everything. This is great, and we're definitely reporting these for us to take forward.
So once you've logged in as a company admin, the first thing that you would notice the very first time you're doing this, you would again have like a terms and conditions checkbox based on the conditions. So you'd have to agree. Once you agree, you would see this specific screen, the reporting screen. And again, it's very simple, just like the other screens. You have a daytime field, as well as the ability to kind of export the results that you see on the screen as from a CSV standpoint or as a PDF. And for this, the reporting, as you can see, you have the full name as well as the engagement score shown to the user. And another quick thing to note is each of these engagement score as such is based on the previous month. So the scores are basically calculated based on an entire month, based on multiple criteria, like based on the number of readings, based on the number of times the person logs into the account, based on the number of times that they send a text message. So it's basically like an engagement score. So that's what is calculated and shown. So if you're looking for the month of April right now, you wouldn't find that as a filter criteria, because the form is actually only based on completed months. However, if you want to kind of go back and choose, like in the month of Feb, you can always go to the time frame, choose custom, and click on Feb and March, or choose the whole from Feb to March. You can actually go ahead and filter those, or you can choose from Jan 1st to Jan end. So if you want to see the engagement score for each specific month.
And Sachin, we did have a question of what is the definition of an engagement score?
So the engagement score is basically a combination of based on the number of readings that you have taken, based on the amount of time that the person is actually logged into the system, number of times that they engage. So in short, engagement score is how engaged the user is with the platform. So it takes in a set of criteria and then calculates a score and then puts it into the report.
Great.
So
And is there a minimum of times to show up in the engagement score? And is the engagement score only updated at the end of the month?
Yes, the engagement score is only updated at the end of the month. So it's only based on completed months. So you wouldn't see an engagement score for the current month. So once we are in the month of May, you'll be able to see the engagement score for April.
Got it. I hope that was helpful and answered your questions, Tracy.
And another thing to also note is, for example, in this, if you look, you have 3 patients, but and all of these patients are all participants are coming from a campaign based on a campaign name. So the campaign name that these participants used to sign up, they would basically appear over here. But there's a catch. The catch is, even though you have, let's say, 100 employees or 100 participants who've signed up for using that specific campaign name or code, they would still show up. I mean, those participants will still have their participant account and so on, but they will have like a special section within their My Profile page where they will have to go and do a check, like select a checkbox, agree to be part of the engagement scope for them to actually be available on this reporting. So we can actually show you through one of these test accounts. So Rex, do we have like a test account to basically show that?
And yes, while they're going through that, to the question that was asked, Jill did enter her BP 6 times. Quick question, Sachin, does the engagement score include physical activity and weight at all?
No, the engagement activity is based on, when
BPO.
it was designed, it was based on blood pressure.
Got it. Okay.
So we have this participant portal. As you can see, if you come down, Rex, you wouldn't see this. You wouldn't see a section over here. That's Okay, I need to do something from my end. While we just give us a minute while we set up these accounts.
And Sachin, you know what? We are coming up right at time, and I know that this team
Yeah.
had a tight
I
window.
think, so Rex, you can actually try now. So log
Okay.
out and log in as a company admin. Okay, so we switched the accounts right now. So as you can see, we have these three patients, participants over here. So we can go ahead and log in as one of these participants. And the reason why we're showing this is to quickly show how that specific checkbox reflects those accounts. So this is the section that I was mentioning about. So if, as participants, once they sign up, even though they've used the campaign name that you have provided, you have to make sure, or they'll have to basically go ahead and consent to this specific section. So they have to select the checkbox. Let's go ahead and select the checkbox. And once you have selected the specific checkbox, only then those users would appear on the reporting. So if you could switch back to the reporting and refresh the screen, you can see that there's another patient that's a participant that's added. You can always go back. So the participants also have the ability to always go back and uncheck that to not be part of this reporting. So one of the things that comes up quite often is we have registered a lot of participants, but they don't appear on the report. That's because the participants would have signed up, but they wouldn't have selected that specific checkbox or given consent to that. So once they do that, they will automatically appear in the reports.
So one last question that was in there. So is that checkbox available in the sign up?
No,
Or
this is after they sign up.
so this is
Once
after
they
they
come
sign up,
into
right? So what we'll do, guys, is we will do we're gonna do another training with our admins, with our company admins. When we do that training, well, we will record that part and we'll send that over to you to show that to you. We'll also show Ryan sooner than later so that he can come back and give you guys notes on where to find that checkbox, or where users can find that checkbox to go in after they register and sign up. That's also where we'll give you guys a little bit more information on where they can sign up for text messages, to text their VPN, and a few other items that they can do post sign up. So I know that we are right at time, and I wanted to thank you guys for joining us today, and I wanted to thank Sachin and Rex for joining us. Thank you so much. This was a huge favor to us. And so I appreciate all of the help that you guys have given today. I hope we've answered some of the questions, if not most, that you guys have had. And I hope that we can continue the conversations so that we can make sure that you're using the CCC tracker to the best of its ability. So I am going to stop recording now. We will share this with anyone who wasn't able to join us. But